Hello everyone. Welcome back to another lecture on reasoning ability and problem solving. In today's lecture, we will start a new chapter called Data Sufficiency Tests. We'll understand what this means and we will discuss the types of questions that you can get from this chapter in your competitive exams. So let us start. So what do you mean by data sufficiency tests? Data sufficiency tests can be written as sufficiency of data as well. It can be written as sufficiency of data. That means we have to check whether the given data is sufficient to answer the question. We don't have to solve the question. Okay, we have to identify whether the data is adequate to solve the answer or not. Correct? And over here in data sufficiency, we have to find out whether we can get a definite answer or not. So if we are getting two possibilities, we will not consider it to be enough sufficient data. Sufficiency of data means that the data should be sufficient to give us a definitive answer. Okay, definitive answer also called unique answer. Now, so let me explain this with the help of an example. So let's say let's say the question is, what is the color of t-shirt that Amit is wearing? Okay, this is a question I am taking, random question. What is the color of the shirt that Amit is wearing? Now two data is given to us. First data is Amit has only two shirts. So Amit has only two t-shirts colored blue and let's say grey. So Amit has only two t-shirts, blue and grey, and the second data says that Amit is not wearing blue t-shirt. Amit is not wearing blue t-shirt. Okay? Now, if I look at statement number 1, these are two statements, correct? These are two statements. If I look at statement number 1, I can get the data that Amit has only two shirts, blue and grey. So these are the only two colors that Amit has in t-shirts, correct? And the second data tells us that Amit is not wearing blue t-shirt. So my question is that what is the color of t-shirt that Amit is wearing? Now if I look at them individually, if I look at statement 1, it says that Amit has only two shirts, blue and grey. But does this data answer to the question that the color of the Amit is whether it is blue or grey? No. So this data alone is insufficient. So I can say that 1 alone is not sufficient. Correct? By 1 alone, I cannot find the answer to the question. Coming back to statement number 2. Statement number 2 says that Amit is not wearing blue t-shirt. But does it answer to the question that what is the color of the shirt that Amit is wearing? No, it just says that it is not blue, but it could be red, it could be yellow, it could be green. Therefore, I can say that 2 alone is also not sufficient. Correct? 2 alone is also not sufficient. Now let us take both the statements together. So both the statements, if I take, statement 1 tells me that Amit has only two t-shirts. One t-shirt is blue and the other t-shirt is grey. Okay. So by statement 1, I can deduce that Amit has only two t-shirts, blue and grey. So he would be wearing either of them. The second one tells me that Amit is not wearing blue t-shirt. So by combining both the statements, I can say that Amit is wearing grey t-shirt. Correct? So my answer to the question will not be grey. Grey is the solution. Grey is the solution. We don't have to find the solution. That is not required. We have to answer that both statements 1 and 2 are required to find the answer. Both statements 1 and 2 are required to find the answer. Clear? This is the concept, or this is, you can say, the approach of solving data sufficiency questions. Okay? Now, In data sufficiency, you can get two types of problems. Type 1 is based on two statements. So the previous question that we just did, this one. Okay, so this question we had two statements, correct? So this is a type 2 based on two statements, and type 1 based on two statements, and then we have a type 2 based on three statements, in which we will have three different statements. So the approach will remain the same, it's just that the number of statements has increased. Okay. Now let us start by understanding type 1 based on two statements. Now in your competitive exam, you will get directions like these. It says that each of the question below consists of a question and two statements, or it could be three statements. We have to identify whether the data provided in the statements are sufficient to answer the question. So we don't have to find the solution. We just have to decide whether the data, this data, is sufficient to answer the question. Clear? Now let us look at the question. So question says that there are 5 friends, J, K, L, M and N, and each of them have different heights. We have to find out who is the second tallest. Okay, so we don't have to find who is the second tallest. We just have to find whether the information given in statement 1 or 2 is enough to answer the question. Now if I look at statement 1, it says that N is taller than M and K is shorter than M. So basically I am getting N, M and K, correct? But we have 5 friends, so we could get one friend over here, one friend over here, or we can have a friend over here, or we can have a friend over here. This is not certain, correct? This is not certain. So I can say this is not sufficient. The first statement alone is not sufficient, correct? Now, the second statements tell us that the first statement told us this, N, M and K. This was the only information that we got from the first statement. Now the second statement tells us that L is taller than N and J is not the tallest. So at the tallest position we do not have J. So this is the only information that second statement gives us. So this alone is also not sufficient, correct? This alone is not sufficient. Now let me combine them. So if I combine them, if I combine the two, correct, I will get L over here. If I combine these two statements, I will get L over here. Now it is given to us that J is not the tallest. J is not the tallest. So J can be over here, J can be over here, and J can be over here. So J's position is also not ascertained. So even with the help of both the statements, it is not sufficient. Even with both the statements, I am unable to find the answer as to who will be the second tallest. Because if J is here, he would be the second tallest. But if J is here, N would be the second tallest. So I cannot ascertain the correct answer. So if I look at the options over here, the option number 1 says that data in statement 2 alone is sufficient, while the data in statement 1 is not sufficient. So this is incorrect, because in neither of these statements the data was sufficient. So option number 2 says that the data neither in statement 1 nor in statement 2 are sufficient to answer the question. So I think this will be my answer. Option number 2 will be my answer, because even with the help of both these statements, I am not able to find a definitive answer. Correct? So here you can see that option number 2 is the answer. Okay? Now, question number 2. Question number 2 says that we have to ascertain who amongst is the youngest. Correct? We have to ascertain who amongst is the youngest. We have to find which of the following statement is enough to find the answer. Which of the following statement is sufficient. So first statement tells us, with the help of first statement, S who is not as old as I. So I is older than H. H is not as old as I is the second youngest. So we have 5 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3. H is the second youngest, correct? So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. H will be the second youngest. So here we have the oldest and here we have the youngest. Okay? Now, we have to find the youngest one. So we don't know the youngest one because we have 5 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 3 positions are still empty. Then it is given to us that with the help of statement 2, J is youngest than H. So J is younger to H. This is given to us. But no other placement is given to us. We have 5 people, no other placement is given to us. So this is also not sufficient. This is not sufficient. I am using the initials NS, and this is also not sufficient. Now if I add these two statements, if I add this information and if I add this information, so I know that J will be smaller than or younger than H. So J will be over here, correct? This much information we'll get if I add. So I will get the information this much. This much will be my final information based on both the statements. Now in the question, we had to ascertain just about the youngest person, not the oldest, not the second oldest, just the youngest. And using both the statements, I can say that we can find the position of the youngest one, correct? So if I look at the options, option 1 says that the data in statement 1 alone is sufficient. This is not correct. Option 2 says that data in statement 2 alone is sufficient. So this is also not correct. Option 3 says that either in statement 1 or statement 2 alone. So this is also not correct. Option 4 says that if the data given in both the statements together are not sufficient. So this is also incorrect, because we know that data in both the statements together was necessary to answer the question. So my answer will be option number 5. Clear? This is the solution. Now let us look at question number 3. Question number 3, we have to find the relation between M and K. Okay, so how is M related to K? Now, taking the first statement, we know that H is not the son of M. So if M is over here, H is not the son. So H will not be the son of M, and L is the wife of M. So M will be male and L will be female, correct? L is the wife of M. So M is male and H is not the son of M. So this much information is given to us in first statement. Is it enough to answer the question how M is related to K? No. So this is insufficient, correct? This is insufficient, or I can write not sufficient. Coming to statement number 2. Statement number 2 says that B is the brother of M. So with the help of second statement, we know that B is the brother of M. So this is male, correct? And it is given to us that K is the wife of D. So another relation is given to us that K is the wife of D. K and D are related like this. K is the wife of D. Okay. Now let me combine both the statements. So if I combine over here, I can just combine this much, that B will be over here. B will be the brother of M. Correct? H is not the son of M. But whether K is the son of M or D is the son of M, this we don't know. So this much information also, even by combining both the statements also, I cannot figure out. Each of them alone was also not sufficient, and each of them even after combining is not sufficient to find the relationship between M and K. Correct? Because we don't know how many members are there in the family. We don't know whether we can get K over here or D over here or whatever. This much information is not given to us. The placement of K and D we cannot ascertain based on this much information. So if I look at the options, option number 1 says that statement 1 alone is sufficient. So this is incorrect. Option 2 says that statement 2 alone is sufficient. This is also incorrect. Option number 3 says that either in statement 1 or statement 2 alone are sufficient. This is also incorrect. Fourth one says that given in both the statements together are not sufficient. So this is my correct answer, option number 4. Both the statements together are also not sufficient to answer the question. Clear? Now let us look at question number 4. Question number 4, we have to find out the relationship between D and S. Basically, we have to find out whether D is the mother of S or not. So I can get two answers, yes or no. Okay, I can get two answers, whether D is the mother of S or no, D is not the mother of S. So if using the statements I am getting either of the answer, that means the statement is sufficient to find the answer to the question. If I look at statement 1, it says that L is the husband of D. So D will be female, L will be male. L is the husband of D and L has only 3 children. So L has 3 children. This is given in first statement. Second statement says that N is the brother of, so N is male, brother of S, S gender is unknown, and of P. So P's gender is also unknown, but these 3 are siblings. And it is given to us that P is the daughter of L. So P is female and L's gender is unknown. So we have to find the relation whether D is the mother of S or not. If I combine both the statements, so alone neither was sufficient. Okay, alone neither was sufficient, correct? But if I combine them, I can see that combining statement 1 and 2, L has 3 children, N, S and P. P is female and N is male. So by looking at this particular graph, which is a combination of statement 1 plus 2, I can ascertain that D is definitely the mother of S. So I am getting the answer in yes, D is the mother of S. And this I can ascertain with the help of combining both the statements, correct? So if I look at the option, the first one says that statement 2 alone is sufficient. So this is incorrect. Neither statement 1 nor statement 2 is sufficient. This is also correct. Data of both statement 1 and 2 together are necessary to answer the question. This one is correct because we need the data in both of them to answer the question, correct? Now, question number 1 of type 2, that is based on 3 statements. Question number 1 of type 2 based on 3 statements. It says we have to find out who amongst A, B, C, D, E and F is the tallest. So 6 people are given to us. We have to find out who is the tallest. Correct? The first statement says that only 2 of them are taller than C. This should be in capital. 2 of them are taller than C. So if there are 6 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, only 2 of them are taller than C. Correct? 2 of them are taller than C. C will be in this position. We have to find the tallest. So this is using data in the first statement. Using data in the second statement, D is shorter than F. So only this much is given to us. This is the taller side and this is the shorter side. Okay? Only this much data is given to us in the statement 2. Okay? Now in the third statement, if I look at the third statement says that C is taller than A but is shorter than F and B. So this much information is given in statement number 3. Correct? So statement number 1 gives us this information, statement number 2 gives us this information, and statement number 3 gives us this information. Now, if I combine statement 1 and 2, can I get any placement of who is the tallest? No, because we have only F and D, and F and D can come over here, F and D can come over here. There's so many places where F and D can be placed. So, this information is not enough, 1 and 2. So, I am writing over here 1 plus 2 is not enough. So 1 alone was also not enough, 2 alone was also not enough, and 3 alone was also not enough. 1 and 2 is also not enough. Now I am looking at 1 plus 3. So if I look at 1 plus 3, can I place F and B over here? So we will get either F and B, and after C we will get A. So A could be in this position, A could be in this position, A could be in this position. So I can see that even 1 plus 3 is not enough to ascertain that who is the tallest, who is at this position. This we have to find out. Correct? So 1 plus 3 is also not enough. Now, moving on to looking at 2 plus 3. Okay, 2 plus 3. So if I look at 2 plus 3, we know that F is greater than D, but we don't know whether D will come over here, here, anywhere. Correct? So 2 plus 3 is also not enough. Now I am combining 1 plus 2 plus 3. So I am combining all the 3 statements. If I combine all 3 statements, I will get either F or B over here. Correct? I will get A at any of the positions, and after F at any of the positions I can get D. So even with 1, 2 and 3. Even with these three statements, I am not able to find the one who is tallest. So I can say that even with 1, 2 and 3, the data is not sufficient to answer the question. So if I look at the options, my answer will be if all the statements taken together are not sufficient. So option 2 will be my answer because the data in all the three statements is not sufficient. Okay, coming to question number 2. Question number 2, we have to find out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 people, who is the tallest person. So 6 people is given to us. We have to find who will be the tallest. Now, with statement 1. Statement 1 says that X is taller than S and W but smaller than U, and U is smaller than T. So we get a placement like this: T, U, X, and S and W we don't know. Correct? Now, but we have 6 people. Correct? We have 6 people, so we don't know the placement of V based on statement 1. So I can say statement 1 alone is not sufficient. Correct? Let us look at statement number 2. Statement number 2 says that U is taller than S and W but smaller than T. X is not the tallest person. So if there is a position, X is not the tallest. Correct? But is this much information enough to answer who is the tallest? No. So this one also alone is not sufficient. Correct? Coming to statement number 3. Statement number 3 says that V is taller than T and U. So V is taller than T and U, and W is not the smallest person. So W is not the smallest person. But we don't know the placement of X. We don't know the placement of all of them. So this alone is also not sufficient. So 1, 2, 3 alone are not sufficient to answer the question. Now let me combine 1 plus 2. So based on 1 plus 2, I just know that X is not the tallest, which is correct, and the placement remains the same. So T, U, but we don't know the placement of V. So 1 and 2 together are not sufficient. Correct? Now I will check 1 plus 3. So 1 plus 3, I am getting T, U, X, S, W. So over here, before T and U, I got V. I can place X over here, and W is not the smallest. That means I will get S over here. So my final placement will be this based on statement 1 and 3. So based on statement 1 and 3, my final placement will be V, T, U, X, W, S. So I have placed all three people. I can say that V is the tallest. So my answer will be that statement 1 and 3 together are sufficient to answer the question. Correct? Statement 1 and 3 are together sufficient to answer the question. So this is given in option number 4. Fifth. Option number 5th says that statement 1 and 3 are sufficient to answer the question. Therefore, this will be the correct answer. Clear? Coming to question number 3. So this was our final placement that we got. Correct, for the previous question. Coming to question number 3. Now, question number 3, basically there are 7 people who live on a 7-floored building. So 7-floored building, bottom floor is 1 and the top floor is 7. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7-floored building, and we have to find the floor in which E lives. We have to find the floor in which E lives. Okay? Now, A lives on the 5th floor. This is by statement 1. Okay? By statement 1, I can say A lives on the 5th floor and D doesn't live on the top floor. So D does not live over here. Correct? There is a gap of 2 floors between A and F. So gap of 2 floors means 1, 2, F will sit over here, or F will be in this floor. Who lives immediately below B? So F lives immediately below B. This is from statement number 1. But do we find the position of E in this statement? No. So 1 alone is not sufficient. Clear? Now let me put the information of statement number 2. Statement number 2 says that B lives on the 3rd floor and C lives on the top floor. So C is over here and B is over here. This is from statement number 2. Correct? There is a gap of 2 floors between A and F, but we don't know where A is, where F is. It is given to us that F lives immediately below G. So F lives immediately below G and we have 2 positions and then we have A. According to this information, according to 2 information, and it also tells us that A lives on an odd numbered floor. So if A lives on an odd number floor, the first possibility I can say either this or we have something like this. Correct? 2 possibilities. Now A live on an odd numbered floor. So if A lives over here, then I will get 1, 2, I will get G over here and then I will get F. But is this correct? No. Because F lives immediately above G. So G will be over here. Okay, this will be the arrangement. F lives immediately above G. So B will be over here, G will be over here, G will be over here. Correct? If A lives in over here, another odd floor is 1. Correct? Another odd floor is 1. So I can get another possibility also. Now, statement 3. So I am writing it over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is from statement 3. Statement 3 says that D lives on the 4th floor. So D comes over here. Correct? D lives on the 4th floor, lives exactly between G and C. So G and C, between G and C, D lives. Okay? And C lives on the top floor. So C lives on the top floor, that means G will live over here. So this much information I can find from statement number 3. Now by looking at this information, I can see that if I combine alone by alone, I cannot find the answer to the question that where does E lives. So neither of the statement alone are sufficient. But now if I look at 1 and 2, so if I look at 1 and 2, I will get C over here, A will be over here, B, F, G. But the position of D and E is unknown. D and E is unknown. So 1 and 2 are not sufficient to answer the question. Not sufficient. Now I will check 1 plus 3. So if I check 1 plus 3, I can see C will be here and D will be at this position. So when I see this 1 and 3, there is only one position left where E can sit. So I can see that 1 and 3 are sufficient together to I find the answer to this question. Clear? Now if I combine 2 and 3. So if I combine 2 plus 3. So 2 plus 3 if I combine, C is over here, D will be over here. Correct? And G is over here. But now the position of A is not definite because A lives in odd number, so A can live in the third one also. So I can say using statement 1 and 3 we can find the answer. So if I look at the options, A's position is there, correct? If the only remaining position is E. So with 2 and 3 also it is sufficient, correct? So with 1 and 3 it is sufficient, with 2 and 3 it is sufficient. And with 1 and 2 it is not sufficient. So there are 2 possibilities. If I look at the options, I can see this one. Option number 3, that either statements 1 and 3 or 2 and 3 together are sufficient. So this will be my answer. Option number 3 will be my answer. This will be my final arrangement where E will be sitting over here. Correct? So these are the types of questions that you can get in your data sufficiency tests. In the next lecture, we will discuss some examples to get a better understanding. So this concludes today's lecture. Thank you.